Hey there everybody, and welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Fuborama, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about the best vehicles to own for completing missions in Grand Theft Auto Online. Some of you may or may not know this, but when starting up missions, heist setups, the Dr. Dre VIP contract, whenever you're doing any mission like that, that doesn't involve you being in a public lobby, you are limited to what vehicles you can spawn in. For example, my office garage 1 has about 30 armored vehicles in it, but if you take a look at the top of the list, it says I only have 16 vehicles that I am allowed to call. And that is because Rockstar does not allow you to call in all weaponized vehicles. Things like the tanks, things like missile-firing Toreadors, Stromberg, things like that are not able to be called in. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the best weaponized things that you can own to help you complete missions faster. Let's get straight into it. In the number 5 position, we arrive at this, the Buffalo STX, probably the best muscle car available in the game. Now, the Buffalo STX is an Amani Tech vehicle, and I would just say right now that all Amani Tech cars that feature semi-bulletproof glass, so the Jubilee, the Dubachi Champion, all are amazing because, for example, let's say that an NPC is trying to shoot at me. Well, that's obviously going to be quite tricky when, as we can see, the glass on this vehicle is not going to be cut through super easy. Now, the reason this vehicle doesn't make it higher up on the list is quite simple. It only features semi-bulletproof glass. This car isn't really going to have to worry about explosions, and there's very few missions where explosions even exist to begin with. So because of that, it's really just the glass that you'd want for this car. I mean, it's fast, it's got a great top speed, it features slick mines that you can drop, but in terms of the overall armor effectiveness against NPC shooting at you, it's a solid like 4 out of 10. You'll have some bullet resistance while it lasts, but once it falls apart, it's not going to do all too well. I think the major reason why I wanted to throw Amani Tech vehicles into the list is quite simple, and that is because if you're not only just doing missions, but ever playing in a public lobby, this vehicle is fantastic. It's just a general use case car that you can basically put in any situation, it'll do great. It's fast, it's got fantastic handling, it's a 4-seater, which means if you obviously have a lot of people, you can seat them all for a heist setup. It's just a great car to pick up and use. In the number 4 position, we arrive at the Weaponized Tampa. The Weaponized Tampa is one of the coolest cars in the game. It features a remote minigun on the roof, it has mortars that you can shoot out of the back, it has landmines that you can drop, and it has machine guns and missiles on the front. This is just an incredibly fun vehicle to mess around with, and it's got a lot of capabilities. I mean, we're at Titan of a Job right now, which is a great mission to showcase the mowing capabilities the Weaponized Tampa has. You can just shoot all the guards in front of you with really very little effort. We can see this car in front of us, and well, that car's not going to be existing all too much longer because we can easily blow it up, and if it takes a little bit too long, well, that's fine. This vehicle also has missiles, which is absolutely great. So you can see that obviously the Weaponized Tampa is something that you don't necessarily want to mess with in terms of weaponry. It's got a super dangerous gun. It's incredible. The problem with this vehicle comes to the fact that it doesn't have any armor. It will get blown up by any explosion that hits it. Not only that, but it's also the fact that we can see it has no bulletproof glass whatsoever. So indeed, when you're getting shot at by NPCs, this vehicle has some massive weaknesses that are going to bring it down. But as I said, it's also got a lot of strengths. You have proximity mines, which means if something is chasing you, I mean, they're not going to be chasing you for very long. Those mines are going to get rid of any trouble behind you. And the remote minigun makes it incredibly easy to mow down hordes of vehicles, people in front of you, basically anything with armor. That minigun is going to turn into dust. It has missiles on the front, which are a little bit sus to use because of the fact that they, well, you can't really guide them. So if there's a little bit of a dip in the terrain, like if I smash on the brakes here, you can see these missiles go really close to the ground, and there you go. I mean, I can blow myself up with them very easily. So the Weaponized Tampa definitely has weaknesses, but it's an absolutely fantastic vehicle for the specific set of criteria, if that's what you're looking for. Making our way into the number 3 and number 2 position, we have the Armored Kuruma and Doco Death. Both of these vehicles are absolutely fantastic. I think they're both basically the same, but for a couple reasons, I'm going to rate the Doco Death slightly higher. Now, we can see the Armored Kuruma is amazing, and it's quite simple to understand why. I have cops literally on every single angle and orifice of our vehicle. And as you'll notice, for the most part, I'm not really taking any damage. There are slight areas here and there where the armored Kuruma can get shot through. I'm not sure if it's a bug or maybe Rockstar wanted to have a bit of a weakness, but yes, you can shoot through the armored Kuruma. It is possible. But for the most part, especially when you're dealing with NPCs, it is basically impossible to die. Because all you need to do when you get a little bit low on health is go over to snacks, eat some P's and Q's, and then boom, you're back up to full health just like that. So there's really no effort that you need to put in. The armor Kuruma, because of that, is just an absolute steal. I mean, it's only $500,000. You're basically never going to die while using it, which makes completing any early game missions absolutely amazing. So definitely get your hands on the armored Kuruma. There's really no reason to not get one. We then move on to the Doco Death, which I believe to be slightly better than the armored Kuruma, for a couple reasons. While this vehicle may not feature as much protection as the armored Kuruma, it's much better in every other area. And as we can see, for the most part, you really don't get shot in the weak spot. I think Rockstar specifically designed this vehicle that even though your car can easily be shot right through that little front panel, as we can see for the most part, it really doesn't happen. And once you start to lose health, all you need to do is turn your vehicle around away from whatever's shooting at you, go to snacks, eat some sprunk, whatever you need to do, and boom, you're back up to full health. Because of that, I believe that this vehicle is just as strong against NPCs as the armored Kuruma, because you're almost never ever going to have to worry about gunfire. And that's why, in every other category, the Doco Death is better. First of all, it's heavy. As you can see, we can easily send any vehicle out of our way in front of us. So that means if an NPC or something drives in front of you and tries stopping your car, you don't need to worry about being blasted right in the face, because you're just going to send whatever it is right out of your way like that. Not only is this vehicle heavy, but it's fast. It's actually faster than the armored Kuruma on top speed, which makes it great for getting from point A to point B. And my favorite part is the fact that it can survive upwards of 6 to 5 explosions, which means even if you are dealing with missions where helicopters or anything is going to shoot explosive rounds at you, I know some of the harder heist setups deal with Valkyries shooting explosive rounds, some of the things like that with Buzzard shooting missiles at you, the Doco Death has no trouble with, because you're not going to have to worry about being shot or blown up. So I would say the Doco Death is one of the best vehicles in the game for any player to use when it comes to missions. And the best part is if you make your way to travel and transport, you go over to Warstock Cash and Carry, and you sort by price. As we can see, the Doco Death is absolutely free for any player. So I would highly recommend to get your hands on one. And arriving in the number 1 position, we have this absolute monstrosity of a vehicle, the Vigilante. Now, the Vigilante is crazy for a couple reasons. First of all, just like the Doco Death, it's quite a heavy beast, and that means you can easily push vehicles out of your way with very little effort. It also features a rocket boost, making it one of the fastest cars for transportation when it comes to missions. So it's fast, it's got an incredible top speed with that rocket boost, it pushes cars out of its way, no problem whatsoever. Those things already are fantastic, but it gets even better. We have homing missiles, and these are Mark II homing missiles. These are the ones that almost never miss. That is incredible. And because of that, the Vigilante gets elevated to an S tier immediately. The Vigilante is the only weaponized vehicle in the game that is able to use homing missiles inside of missions. Yes, you might say, well, what about the Doco Death? Well, those are not homing missiles. So as we can see, we got Johnny Guns and all of his goons over here. And this is a great way to showcase where the Vigilante is going to be used a lot, because normally completing a mission with Johnny Guns here and the agency is great, but it's also kind of painful to do this mission without the Vigilante. So all I do is I run off to the side of this building here, I call my personal Vigilante out, and then all I do is sit and fire some missiles. And as we can see, the Vigilante does the rest of the work for me. Easy peasy. These missiles will hit just about every target you fire at, even the guys on the roof of the building. You just angle it the right way and boom, dude's dead. You can see how easy it is to just sit in one spot, fire the missiles. I mean, there's literally no effort you need to use. Oh no, not the car. Darn, bye-bye. Oh no, not the guy. Look at that missile! Like, what the heck is that? Yeah, the Vigilante, it's absolutely stupid. I would highly recommend that if you don't own this car... Oh, almost just blew ourselves up. But yeah, if you don't own this car, definitely use it. It's an absolutely incredible buy. It makes doing these missions a cakewalk. And you can use the Vigilante for basically any of these missions. You can see there again, blow that guy up. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and let me know if you agree with today's picks. I definitely think that these are going to be the most useful things that you can personally use when it comes to completing... Okay, that guy just is invincible. There you go. But yeah, I think that these are currently the best vehicles that you can use for missions in Grand Theft Auto Online. It makes them incredibly easy, zero effort whatsoever. So hopefully you enjoyed today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.